to see you again. I'll start with the news today that Paul Huntington has extended his stay at Bradford City. In the statement, you said it was an easy decision. What's merited it to be such an easy decision?
His performance and his personality, and character. He took a bit of time to get up to speed, to obviously play in the first team, and then his performance in the first team were really good. Unfortunately, he just dropped out with a slight injury, but I spoke to him at the time that, because I don't know, it's hard for him. He's got a short-term deal. He's injured at the time, and I thought it was good to speak to him then, just to give him a bit of assurance, saying, look, we feel you've done enough, but let's get the conversation on later on in the sort of process. So from my side, it was an easy decision to make, but obviously Paul had to agree as well, because he might have wanted to go somewhere else or do something different. So he was as positive as I was when I spoke to him, and it was an easy deal to get over the line. How is his injury situation at the moment? He's back training with us today. So he trained Monday, trained today. So we'll see how he is tomorrow following today's exertions. But hopefully that's him till the end of the season, fit and available. Have you got any other knocks or niggles ahead of Saturday? No, I don't think so. I think everyone, we had a bit of a game yesterday behind closed doors for the other players, and everyone came through that unscathed as well. So they've got valuable minutes under their belt, because obviously we're going to come into a real busy period with midweek games. I think 6 in the next 7 weeks or so. Yeah. It's so we just thought it was an opportunity to get a game for those lads who have less minutes under their belt, the new players. So it was the first time they played how we want to play, so we can get them up to speed. So, but physically, all the boys are in good shape. And Andy, has he had his surgery? He has, yeah. He went in yesterday. So he's out. He went home last night. So spoke to the medical team today. The operation went as planned. So he's just got recovery time now. I think he's going to come back in on Friday to see the boys. But we're glad. I think that's a step forward for Cookie in his head. That he wanted to get the process of his rehabilitation underway, but he couldn't do that until he had the operation. So. It went as planned, which is great news, and he was in good hands, and I'm sure he'll work exceptionally hard to be back. You mentioned the new players and having that behind closed doors game. How are they in terms of getting up to speed with what you want and what it's going to take to be at this football club? I think yesterday was a real valuable sort of opportunity for us, really, because we obviously they were cup tied for the Villa game, so they can't play in that trophy, and then didn't get on Saturday apart from Tommy. But a full game of playing in our formation, how we press, how we want to progress the play, attack, and all that sort of thing. It's okay watching another team, but when you're on the pitch, it's a different feeling. So. It was good to see him. I think there was a couple picked up straight away, a couple need a little bit of improvement, but we've gone through the clips with them today, myself and Mark Truman. So the positives, negatives, where they need improve, get their feeling on it. Physically, look really good, all 4 of them, and I know they're capable of doing what we want, but it's just we do things a little bit differently to other clubs, and it's important they get up to speed really quickly, because we're going to need. After the game on Saturday, you spoke about the team showing that coldness that's necessary when emotions are maybe high, or emotions are being felt within the stands, understandably so. I just wondered how important that has been to you in terms of the mentality of this group, and specifically when we've spoken about the improving the home form as well, having that coldness when out on the field. Yeah, it underpins everything we're about, really. Our mentality, our togetherness, our decision making. But I think the understanding the challenge of playing for Bradford City, having a win for Bradford City, having to ultimately be successful. There's pressure points in there, and when we go to opposition grounds, there's a fervour around the stadium about because we always take big numbers and good numbers, so there's more of an emotional feeling around the game. So, but we and I want my players to be emotional. We're not sort of zombies walking around playing a game of football. There's emotions and feelings that you have to sort of harness and have, so there's an uplifted state of mind going into a game of football, but there's got to be a control about it and a focus about not going off what we train to do every day, and I think the players have done exceptionally well at that. Certainly at Valley Parade over the last 8 or 9 months. I think we struggled with it for a period away from home earlier in the season, but I think we made great strides in improving that sort of side of our game, and I thought last Saturday was the perfect example of that from the players. It was obviously there's a history in the fixture, and there was a couple of players in there, but I thought you could see the emotion come out of the players at the final whistle, in the celebrations, and so you could tell it was in there.
That's the right time for it to
come out. That was it. It was in there. It's bubbling away, but they were controlling it and disciplined with it. And then it's like a release of it. So that's when you can release yourself and just let yourself go for a little bit. But the control, we need it in our minds, and we'll need it again on Saturday.
And when you've spoken about that need for improving the away form, has it been that coldness then that's been needed to improve, or has there been more to it than that?
No, I think it's understanding first the challenge. So take Valley Parade, for instance. When we go back, to last season, I had to understand the challenge of playing at Valley Parade first. When teams come to us and this, that, the other, and what they do, and then to explain it in cold light of day with the players and say, but this is going to happen. So don't be surprised by it. Don't get flummoxed by it, and that's so they were prepared for it. And then the start of this season away from home, look, the injuries hampered us as well. And if you look at the centre halves we lost, we lost it in away games. So it disrupted our flow, sort of thing, because we started away from home. First game of the season, won a great fixture. So it all came into the equation. But we just had to focus the players on what the challenge was when we go to away grounds, or the majority away grounds. This will happen, that will happen. How are we going to react to it? This is how we should react to it, or not react to it, to be honest, and just play our game. So it's a lot of process, a lot of talking, a lot of communication, and a lot of intelligence from the players. And that's where the experience, I think, of players comes into play, to actually understand it and go, I've been here hundreds of times before. Now I need to pass it on to these guys next to me, the young players, and we become the team we hope to be.
I put particular focus on that kind of mindset and mentality because I suppose it's just as relevant for this Saturday, isn't it? You played bottom of the table last weekend, you played top of the table this weekend. There'll be a lot of attention because of the form that you've shown of late. You're welcoming the league leaders, but I guess from your perspective, it's just another game to not get too caught up in the attention that we may put on it and fans will put on it as well.
Yeah, look, we want the build-up from everybody else to get excited about the fixture and go into it excited about our opportunity against the league leaders. They have been the best team in the first half of the season, without a shadow of a doubt. But I think there's a confidence and a positivity around our camp, the squad, the supporters, because of what we've done. So it's a great fixture from that perspective, and we want everyone to get excited about coming to Valley Parade to watch us. We don't want to dampen that emotion at all. We want it heightened. We want them to come in excited and go home excited is the most important thing. But they need to look forward to coming to Valley Parade to see their team play. But we have to park those things. I want us to get excited about playing football every day. I do. I see players, training. I'm thinking, sometimes they've got the weight of the world on their shoulders, or it's like, where would you rather be? You're a footballer. You've dreamed about being a footballer all your life, all your childhood, and here it is right in front of you. So just go and enjoy yourself, and we have to do that. So it's not just dampening our spirit. It's actually keeping that excitement of being a kid as a footballer. What you wanted, well, here it is right in front of you. Go and take advantage of it and enjoy it. So. And just have that balance. It's hard, and I only know this from me losing my stuff when I was a player at times, and it generally didn't lead to good things, red cards or stupid things happening. And over the years, I had to understand and harness my own emotions and stuff like that. And which me, Chris, True, we're all trying to pass on our experiences, not our perfections, because it's the mistakes we made. We don't want our players to make the same mistakes. So it's just trying to help them through these games. But I do see every game, like you say, exactly the same, to be honest. And you know, I don't think anyone would. You know, we went to Carlisle, and because of the emotion of the fixture or the history of it, it wasn't a team that's doing well against bottom of the table. It never had that feeling about it at all. And I don't think Saturday should either, because they're at the top.
What do you make to them as opponents, and what has stood out in terms of just what they've done this season?
Consistency. I think their form has been built on a consistent start and a consistent team. I think they've had the most consistent team in the division, and they've got all the attributes that you need to create a consistent winning team. So it'll be a great challenge for us, a real big challenge. But you know, we've last two fixtures, the two fixtures since I've been here, we've won one, we've lost one. Both tough games, and both away from home. So it'll be a difficult game without a doubt. But there was a difficult game last week for us. So the biggest thing we took into last week's game was our performance, our way of playing, our way of defending, our way of attacking. And that has to be that's where our consistency lies. And so if we focus on that, then we give ourselves the best chance of winning. And
just finally, you mentioned earlier, it's going to be a very busy few weeks ahead for you with the fixtures on the horizon. I know I've asked you this recently already, but just how important is it that you underline to the whole squad how much they'll be needed? Because it's easy to go 11 or 18, but it's going to be more than that, isn't it, with the fixtures on the way?
Yeah, without a doubt. That's why we were so determined to get this fixture yesterday for the players, because we want them up to speed. We just want to go, right, here you go, you're playing first team league game, loads of tempo, and you haven't played for 6 months or 3 months, or in Michael Mellon's case 14 months, his last full game. You know, so we needed that game time to understand the intensity we need to play at, what it's going to take out of your body, but the tactical side of it as well. So we 100% we are going to need them all over the Christmas period. When we had the busy period, we changed the team in every game, and we might have to do that, or we will probably do that for the next, I don't know, 6 weeks or so that we've got all these midweek games. That's why we've tried hard to create this squad, and I've got to show the trust in that squad. But there's a price on the ticket. You know, they have to show the attributes and the mindset to be in that team and keep the performance as high as it's been.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay, mate.
One of the key things about the win at Carlisle was the clean sheet, and that can help boost the confidence going into the league game against the league's top scorers. Yeah,
I think it's something. I think we should have had more clean sheets. I think it's I can't remember too many games where our goals been peppered and you think you've got away with it by just conceding one. I think we've conceded goals from limited amount of opportunities that we've given to the opposition. But you're right, Walsall have scored a lot of goals this season. Don't concede many either. That's why they're consistently churning out the results, because they get it right at both ends. I think we've been really close to doing that. I think we've scored goals consistently through the period without being over prolific. And the other way, we haven't given loads of chances away, but we've given some poor goals away in individual moments. So it was great for the team, the whole squad to get that clean sheet, because A, it helped us win the game, but B, it's something that we feel as a group of people that we've not really got the data behind us to be proud about. To be honest, you know, we haven't kept enough clean sheets this season, but without a doubt, we've got the players to do that, and we've got the tactical side of it, but we've just got to cut out little bits of sloppiness. I thought that's what pleased me last week. There was only one little bit where we had to improve on. It was I wouldn't say it was a chance, it was a shot from 22 yards, which Sam made a save at the end, but there was a little bit of us going off script just before that in their build-up play, and that's what happens if we do. We can get cut open. So. But it was a great save from Sam. But I think we've got the players there to keep many clean sheets, and we have to start that run now. And with how tight the league is at the moment, and probably will stay being tight, goal difference could become a crucial factor at the end. Yeah, and that's like we were even when we were on that tough period, we weren't conceding loads of goals. If we lost by 1 goal apart from the one game. I think that's been the case for the last 9 months, to be honest. So that comes into play. We were always in games, we were always competitive, and the goal difference, like you say, is important. Come the end of the season, or could be important come the end of the season. And look, clean sheets they're not the only thing you have to stamp. If you score more than the opponent, that's the most important data and stat you have to look at. But clean sheets certainly help you at the other end as well, score goals. So but it's a tough challenge on Saturday, but we're looking forward to it. Okay.
So Graham, the importance of confidence. I mean, you're playing a team won 9 in a row, lost since the beginning of October. It's an incredible run they've been on.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you sort of chip away at that as an opponent? How do you sort of get into them when it? They must think they just go out and win a game at the moment, because they must be absolutely at the top of their game.
Yeah, well, I think our players are in a similar sort of mindset as well. I don't think we see it as a foregone conclusion that we're going to win games, but I think we're confident in ourselves. I think we've got a way of playing which the players really understand. I think they really believe in it. They commit to it. The record of Walsall, that's the record. It's the history. You know what I mean? It doesn't have any bearing on us going into the game against them on Saturday. It's regardless of, look, we went into the game against Carlisle, who haven't won games before in the recent history, but we didn't go into that with thinking this was going to be an easy game. Our level of competitiveness was right bang on from minute 1. We didn't take them lightly, and on the reverse of it, we've got to do the opposite on this side, but we still got to approach the game in the same way. So it's not underestimating the opponent, but it's not overestimating them as well. And that's with all due respect to Carlisle and Walsall. We have to understand what we're good at, and our biggest focus is on ourselves. And if we get our best game going, that gives us the best chance of winning against anybody. But Walsall's history is their history. Our history is our history. It's 2 good teams going against each other on Saturday, and I think both teams will be looking forward to it. I know I am. I'm sure that their manager is. So it's a good test for both teams.
You mentioned the Sam earlier. I mean, you feel the team's going into this in sort of as you just said, sort of in the best sort of mood, and basically the way you're playing at the moment. It's a great time to be playing them with this fixture coming up, isn't it?
I think it's always a great time to play football. I do, because if you're on a bad run of form, the next game is the opportunity to turn it around and feel good about yourself again. So there's always a good motivation to go in any game of football. But I know there's different feelings and confidence and stuff. But I mentioned earlier in the season that when we turn our form around, we go into the next game, we're not confident. We've lost a few games, but you win and then you get the ball rolling, but you start from a place of limited confidence, I think, sometimes. So moods, confidence, different emotions, all these have got to be put to the side, and you've got to be competitive. And it's the things you have to do tactically won't change how you feel. We have to do the things that we're consistently drumming into the players. They understand in the games, in the training. But I think sometimes the winning feeling will just make a difference in certain instances, or a little bit of confidence and stuff like that. So it can be the deciding factor in a game of tight margins. But like you said, I think there's 2 confident teams, 2 teams on a good run of form. I believe if we hadn't had the injuries that we had, that we'd be competing with them at the top now anyway. But we've had to deal with the hand we were dealt with. But now's our opportunity to, from now to the end of the season, to show what we are when we have everyone available, and or the majority of people are available. So it would have been a tough game whether they were 8th, 9th, 14th or top, because they've got good players, they're together, and they've got a good manager. So the challenge is the same for me.
And as you say about the injury scenario, I mean, these things happen, but obviously when you've got a team that they've been quite sort of, fortunate's not the right word perhaps, no. They've been able to keep pretty much a similar team. I mean, that can be such a huge advantage when you get that run going, kind of.
Yeah, definitely, because injuries and form and suspensions can affect any team, at any level, as we've seen in the Premier League. So you always need a little bit of luck with injuries, I think, because it can happen to anybody at any time, in challenges and stuff. But keeping players available, and they wouldn't have had to change their team through performance as well, because performance is an indicator, and if you're not winning games regularly, then you're more inclined to change teams. But we didn't really have that option because we lost so many players, so we had to keep playing the same team week in, week out. But look, you can't take anything away from what they've done for the first half of the season. It's been a phenomenal sort of first half of the season, and they'll be rightly pleased with that and chuffed with that. But I'm confident in what our players have shown in the last 8 or 9 games. Now that's the true Bradford City team. But there'll be many more times, like Saturday, that we have to prove it again.
You say about the last 8 or 9 games. I mean, we talked about the recent form, but I suppose you can almost peg it back to perhaps the Crewe game, in terms of that chunk where this team's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I think that was it. Well, it tried to be, but then Pato got sent off and we had to change it straight away. So they're the challenges we've had. But that was the game we tweaked the shape as well. So it gave the players a little bit of freshness and something else to think about. And then we had 10 men for 40 minutes and still deserved to win the game, which was a great sort of confidence boost for the players and ourselves, that we still had a season worth fighting for, still an opportunity to be successful. We're still a good team, and I think it's flowed from there. We've had the one blip against Notts County, but other than that, and even that was a 5-minute blip. It weren't a full game. The players have been in really good form and deservedly winning the games that we've gone into. So, but we have to reset. We can't. We can take the feeling from what we've done, but whatever we've done doesn't win us any points on Saturday. We have to do it again, and do it again, and do it again.
In terms of the league table, I know it's one of those where it's still very much Constantine and perhaps opening up a little bit behind you, but in the sense that the fact that you're sort of still on the periphery in terms of when you look at the table, you see the playoffs and you're just underneath. Yeah. Does that in a way sort of perhaps take a little bit of attention from elsewhere off you, a little, the focus perhaps more on who's second, who's third, because that keeps changing, whereas you're just sort of hanging along there, just sort of ready to make your moves?
Potentially I think you're right. I think because obviously every person's from the outside, they're focused on the top of the league. People that are not involved with any clubs, this is the first thing you look at, the top of the league, bottom of the league, and then everything in between. So maybe so, but it's the points tally that we're trying to increase. It's not where we're second, sixth, ninth. It's irrelevant at the moment. It's just adding to our points tally. So whether anyone feels any more pressure when they get in those positions, don't know, because we haven't been there yet. And, well, we have been, but right at the start of the season, before we got the injuries. So we'll see if that comes, but we've got to be ready for that if that becomes us. If we do win a couple of games and we find ourselves in that, it's another challenge that we have to take on board and say, well, this is it. Nothing changes. We've still got to win games. We've still got to run. We've still got to tackle, pass, all those things. That's where our focus has to be. But from the outside, I know where the focus is. It's on the top end of the table.
In terms of the points, have you sort of got perhaps an idea where you're looking at points, and perhaps you've marked after this many games we need to be around about this? I mean, in terms of where they are, where your team is at the moment, do you feel you're sort of on track with perhaps what you?
I don't do that. I don't because I don't. If I saw the value in that, I would take it on board. I always look at things and say, why do people do that? Because I know there's managers that do blocks of 6 and blocks of 4 and all that lot. And I've asked managers that. Me personally, it doesn't make sense unless someone puts it makes it logical sense for me. I'm not going to do something just because other people do it. I think my brain works better looking at the thing that's right in front of me, and then reset and look at the thing right in front of me. Because you don't know. I think the last 2 seasons, I think the top 3 have been different. The top 3 last year scored a load of goals. The top 3 year before didn't score a load of goals, but had good defensive records. So it wavers. That's the brilliance of English football. It's so competitive. It's like, how many goals do you need to score to win promotion? No one knows. You just need to score more than the opponent as many times as possible. It's all those little things. And I'm a real basic thinker and common sense thinker, and we need to get more points than 20 other clubs this season to be successful. I don't know what the amount is. I always prefer just to ask ourselves the question every single week, can we win 3 points on Saturday? And I think you can answer that yes, but we've got to do a lot of things. If you go, can we win 21 points out of the next 7 games? That's a much tougher yes to say. So that's how I do it. It's not for everyone, but that's fine.
Greg, can you just tell us a bit about the importance of Paul Huntington when he's not playing for you, in terms of what he contributes off the field?
I think he's just another good professional around the place, with good habits, with good professionalism. He's been over the course, so if anyone, because players talk in change rooms and they'll open up with their teammates, less so with staff in there. That's why we don't go in there in the training ground. But the senior players will hear all this and they can put them at ease, or actually encourage them, or give them a little wrap around the ears to say, no, this is how it's done if you want to be a winner, and stuff like that. So constant communication, or just being around there, calming influence or invigorating influence, whatever it is, but anything that's positive helps. And Hunty's been there and done it, and there's several players that are of a similar ilk in our squad, but it's not just individual to those experienced players. I think everyone can help each other. So whenever you talk to Hunty, he's quite composed. He sees the picture. He understands the challenge of trying to create winning teams. So he can pass on that sort of valued experience to other players, and it doesn't have to be the younger ones. It could be other experienced players.
Is that one of the important parts of learning to be a manager? To learn that there are things that you don't control. You need other people. You need the dressing room to run itself at times, and so on.
Yeah, you sort of learn it. If you're fortunate like I am to play into your later years, in your later 30s and that, because I think you become a bit more aware of what's going on around the place, and the managers and the coaches and all that sort of thing. And then if you have managers that have leaned on you a little bit to help, as experienced players like myself or Chris, who were both captains at clubs, I think then you understand the feeling it gives you as a player, that you've got a part to play as well, not just on the pitch. But I think I understood the value of that, because there is a difference in my relationship with players than player to player. There has to be, and there always will be. So players will open up sometimes more, well, all the time, more with the group rather than the staff. So it can't be on one person. I've never put the leadership of the squad on just the captain. I think it's a group of people. Same as our success or my success as a manager. It's on a group of people. Some of my coaching staff, the players, supporters, the people above me that help. So that's how football works. So it's important that they understand their value to us as well, and it's not just a one-way transaction. So I've seen that a lot in my experience years as a player, and certainly as a manager, it's invaluable to any coach.
And consistency seems to be just a big part of your personality, whether as a player or as a manager. Having that sort of consistent approach, formation, regardless of whether the personnel changes, that consistent mood. Do you think that's almost more important at such an emotion-driven club as this one?
I think I've learned that in the first 4 or 5 months here. Football is emotional anyway. Yeah. So throughout the world, it's not just bespoke to Bradford City. Every club is emotional, because you talk about childhoods and lifelong affiliations with clubs. So it's going to be emotional. It's the biggest sport in the world for a reason, because it takes you from pillar to post, in emotional sort of scales. So, but there is an added emotion around Bradford City, so that's something I had to understand that was here, and tap into it and understand how to embrace it, really, not reject it, but embrace it and make it a part of us as a team. So, but definitely, I was probably the world's worst when I first started playing. A very emotional player, and in bother all the time, or this, that, and the other. But it never led anywhere good. I think I had a good emotion about myself, but it spilled over a lot of times. And it was only as I got older and understood that I had to control that, and then it helped me control my own self. But now as a manager, I have to help others control their emotions. So consistency is important because you're not talking about one-off games. You're talking about 46 or 50 games. So you're only successful. Walsall are the best example of that in the first part of the season. The consistency they've had. So and I've got better at it as a manager because I was still quite up and down as a younger manager, especially. But don't worry, I still have my moments. But less controlled, more controlled, I should say.
And you've talked a couple of times today about understanding the club. How long do you think it took you to get a handle on just what was different about this club?
I don't know. I think I've tried to do it as a player. I only played 4 clubs, so I didn't jump around. But as a manager, I think because of the role that any manager has and its importance and its sort of long-reaching sort of influence, I think it's important that a coach understands the people and the area and the recent history or even the long-term history of a football club. But it's the people you got to understand what they want and how they behave and how they react. And then just trying to manoeuvre your way through it to get everyone on board and that. So there wasn't a light bulb moment where it's like, oh, this is it. It was just over time and just having ears really and listening and trying to connect. But it's a balance, and I don't always get it right. I know that 100%. I don't, but I just try to be honest, and that's the best I can be really. But there's loads of good people at this club that are similar minded to the supporters, to the emotion of this club. There's so many people that are really in the fabric of Bradford City that I have direct sort of communication with, so it's easy to pick up how they feel about the team, the past, what this club wants to achieve in the future. And you just got to try and play your part in that. But it's not just me, it's many people, because it's a big club and it's a big job.
So, I mean, by the same token, did you sort of specifically seek people out to specifically talk about this, or is it just a process of osmosis when you're surrounded by these people every day?
Good word, that, isn't it? Osmosis. I would never use that. I'll have to use that in the future. But it is. I think it is. I think it's just being aware of your surroundings. It's like, I don't know. It's just learning, really, isn't it? It's learning about where you live and how to survive in it and be successful. That's all it is, really. I think I've been pretty reasonably good at that over my whole career, playing in different positions as a player and all this lot. Anything to be on that pitch. So I always took on tactical information. That's why I played a lot of games. I think every manager could trust me that I could take on information and use it. And I've just took that into my career. I haven't seek any individual out. I just listen to everyone who's got Bradford City's best intention at heart. People that want to bring us down, completely ignore. But people that want this club to be successful, then of course I'm going to listen.